Sexual desire. It's the ancient primal force that has launched 1,000,000 ships, inspired epic poetry, sparked wars, and, let's be honest, fueled more embarrassing high school memories than we care to admit. But what if your most intimate cravings, those secret yearnings you swear are your own, have actually been dialed up by a cast of spiritual tricksters lurking just beyond the veil of your perception? According to one of history's most enigmatic mystics, Helena Blavatsky, your libido might be less yours and more leased to you by the astral world. Feeling weirded out yet? Good. The rabbit hole is just getting started. Blavatsky wasn't your everyday philosopher. She was the Grand Duchess of Esoteric, the queen of cosmic plot twists, the original influencer of the occult. Picture someone who looks like a Victorian-era goth, talks like a riddle-spouting oracle, and writes with the stamina of a caffeinated octopus. She crisscrossed continents, hobnobbed with yogis, and claimed to have psychic Skype calls with mysterious Mahatmas in Tibet. Her teachings, they're like a spiritual smoothie, a blend of Eastern wisdom, Western mystery, and a generous dash of "what did she just say?" In her sprawling works, Blavatsky dropped a spiritual bombshell. The urges you experience, the ones that feel most deeply, intimately yours, are actually psychic signals, tests, and sometimes even temptations hurled at you by spiritual entities. These aren't your garden variety ghosts either. Think astral freeloaders, energy parasites, and elemental spirits with nothing better to do than mess with your chakras. In Blavatsky's world, your body is the stage, your mind is the main character, and the spiritual world is the peanut gallery, heckling, applauding, and occasionally tossing invisible banana peels in your path. Here's the scene. You're going about your day, maybe standing in line at the coffee shop, when suddenly, bam, your mind conjures a fantasy so vivid Freud would need a cold shower. Is it just biology? Is it just your subconscious? Blavatsky says, not so fast. According to her, the universe is jam-packed with spirits who feed off the energy generated by human desire. Some are harmless, like astral squirrels nibbling on your emotional leftovers. Others are more like spiritual paparazzi, flashing their metaphysical cameras every time you're caught in a moment of weakness. If you think this sounds like cosmic paranoia, you're not alone. Blavatsky's critics said she was spinning fairy tales for grown-ups. But her followers? They took her warnings seriously. They saw the world as a spiritual obstacle course, where every impulse was a pop quiz and every temptation a cosmic prank. The goal wasn't to suppress your desires forever. It was to recognize their true source and master them, transforming raw instinct into spiritual superpower. Imagine turning every "I probably shouldn't" moment into an "I just leveled up" achievement badge. Let's break it down. Blavatsky taught that our world is just one layer in a vast, multidimensional reality. Picture reality as a giant onion. Each layer is more subtle, more refined, and a lot more likely to make you cry if you peel it back too quickly. The physical world is the outermost layer. Inside that is the astral world, home to spirits, thought forms, and other entities that thrive on the energies we emit, especially when we're emotionally charged. And what's more emotionally charged than sexual desire? That's right, almost nothing. Here's where things get even stranger. Blavatsky described these astral entities as elementals, beings made of pure emotion and thought. They're not inherently evil, but they're definitely opportunistic, like raccoons at a backyard barbecue. Whenever you feel a surge of desire, these entities gather round, hoping to snack on the energy you release. The more you indulge, the bigger the feast. The less you indulge, the hungrier they get, which means they'll try even harder to tempt you next time. It's a spiritual arms race, and you're both the battlefield and the prize. But why do these spirits care about your desire anyway? According to Blavatsky, emotions are like currency in the astral world. The stronger the emotion, the more valuable the currency. Sexual desire, with its explosive cocktail of longing, anticipation, and pleasure, is the Bitcoin of the astral realm. It's highly sought after, easily traded, and subject to wild fluctuations. The entities who can harvest the most emotional energy climb the invisible social ladder of the spiritual world. The more you react, the bigger their payday. So, what's a spiritually savvy human to do? Blavatsky's answer is both simple and impossibly hard. Master yourself. She believed that the true test of spiritual progress is the ability to observe your desires without being ruled by them. It's like being the cool-headed referee in the middle of a chaotic soccer match, blowing the whistle every time an astral player tries to take a dive. The more you practice self-control, the less power these entities have over you. Eventually, you can channel your desires into higher pursuits, creativity, compassion, even wisdom. But don't be fooled. The spiritual world doesn't play fair. Just when you think you've conquered one temptation, another pops up, sneakier and more seductive than the last. It's like playing whack-a-mole with your own psyche. The moment you let your guard down, the astral tricksters swoop in, eager for a taste of that sweet, sweet emotional energy. The only way to win is to stay vigilant, stay curious, and keep asking yourself, whose desire is this really? Let's take a quick detour into history. Blavatsky wasn't the first to suspect that our desires are manipulated by unseen forces. Ancient Hindu texts warned of asuras, demonic beings who stoke human passions for their own amusement. The Gnostics spoke of archons, cosmic administrators who keep souls trapped in cycles of temptation and suffering. Medieval Christians blamed incubi and succubi for nocturnal disturbances, basically ghostly party crashers with questionable intentions. Even modern psychologists talk about the shadow self, the unconscious drives that hijack our behavior when we're not paying attention. But Blavatsky's twist was to frame it all as a giant spiritual test. In her view, Earth is less a playground and more a classroom, where every urge, every craving, and every bad idea is a lesson in disguise. The spirits aren't just tormentors, they're teachers, albeit really annoying ones. Their job is to push your buttons, poke your weaknesses, and see if you can rise above your animal instincts. Resist and you gain power. Give in and you start the lesson all over again. Sound exhausting? It is, but Blavatsky insisted that the rewards are worth it. She claimed that those who master their desires gain access to higher states of consciousness, untapped reservoirs of creative energy, and insights that make everyday problems look like kindergarten puzzles. In other words, spiritual self-control isn't about saying no to pleasure. It's about saying yes to a deeper, more meaningful kind of freedom, the kind that can't be bought, sold, or swiped right on. Now, let's turn up the intrigue. Blavatsky believed that the stakes are even higher for those who are spiritually sensitive. If you've ever felt like you're more affected by temptations, more easily swayed by emotion, or more prone to inexplicable urges, you might be what she called an old soul, someone with a long spiritual history and a big target on their back. The more advanced you are, the more interesting you are to the astral world. It's like being the star player on a cosmic soccer team. Everyone wants a piece of you. But here's a secret weapon: awareness. The moment you realize that your desires might not be entirely yours, you create a wedge between impulse and action. You can step back, observe the urge, and ask yourself, is this really what I want, or am I being played? That split second of mindfulness is the crack in the astral armor. the sliver of freedom that lets you choose your response instead of being yanked around like a puppet on invisible strings. Of course, it's easier said than done. The spiritual world is persistent. The tests are endless. Just when you think you've outsmarted the tricksters, they rebrand, reinvent, and return with a whole new bag of psychological tricks. Maybe it's a sudden craving for junk food when you're on a diet. Maybe it's the urge to doom scroll social media when you should be meditating. Maybe it's a flash of envy, anger, or lust out of nowhere. The game is the same. Can you recognize the urge, see through the illusion, and act from a place of clarity instead of compulsion? Let's get practical. Blavatsky offered a toolkit for astral self-defense. Meditation, for starters, is like installing antivirus software for your mind. It helps you spot intrusive thoughts and emotional hijackers before they take over the system. Study of esoteric philosophy sharpens your discernment, making you less likely to fall for spiritual scams. Acts of compassion, generosity, and creativity redirect your energy from lower desires to higher ones, starving the astral freeloaders and nourishing your own soul. But don't expect instant results. Mastery takes time, patience, and a willingness to fail spectacularly, over and over again. Every slip-up is just another lesson, another opportunity to grow stronger, wiser, and more resilient. In Blavatsky's universe, the only true failure is giving up the quest for self-mastery altogether. Still with me? Good, because the plot thickens. Some modern thinkers are starting to echo Blavatsky's wildest ideas. Psychologists now talk about energy vampires, people who drain your emotional reserves just by being around them. Self-help gurus preach the power of sexual transmutation, channeling desire into art, work, or athletic achievement. Even neuroscientists are beginning to see that the brain is a battleground of competing drives, some of which seem to come from nowhere. Maybe Blavatsky was just ahead of her time, tuning into truths that science is only now beginning to map. So the next time you feel that familiar tug of temptation, whether it's a craving, an urge, or an inexplicable mood swing, pause for a moment. Imagine the astral peanut gallery holding its breath, waiting to see how you'll respond. Will you give in, feeding the spirits with another surge of emotional energy? Or will you hold the line, channel your desire, and earn a cosmic gold star? The choice is yours, but remember, the game is always on, and the stakes are higher than you think. Let's zoom out even further. Why does any of this matter? According to Blavatsky, personal mastery isn't just about feeling better or being more productive. It's about participating in the grand evolutionary drama of the universe. Every time you resist a base impulse, you're not just helping yourself, you're raising the vibration of the entire planet. You become a beacon, a ripple, a catalyst for positive change in the invisible web that connects all beings. Your struggle isn't just personal, it's cosmic. And if you're wondering if this is all a bit much, you're not alone. Even Blavatsky's closest friends sometimes rolled their eyes at her wilder claims, but they also admitted that her teachings made life more interesting, more mysterious, and more meaningful. Suddenly, every challenge became an adventure, every setback a plot twist, every temptation a clue in the grand scavenger hunt for enlightenment. So, whether you buy into Blavatsky's astral soap opera or not, her message is clear. Don't be a passive participant in your own life. Question your desires, challenge your impulses, treat every urge as a riddle to be solved, not just a command to be obeyed. The more you do, the more you'll discover about yourself and about the hidden forces that shape your destiny. And here's the real kicker. Blavatsky insisted that the spiritual world isn't out to get you. The tests aren't punishments, they're opportunities. The spirits aren't villains, they're catalysts. Your desires aren't enemies, they're invitations to grow, to learn, to evolve. The only question is, will you answer the call, or will you let your life be a series of automatic reactions, handed down by forces you don't even see? Because in the grand scheme, every moment of self-mastery is a revolution. Every act of awareness is a declaration of independence from the astral status quo. Every time you choose clarity over compulsion, you're breaking the cycle, rewriting the script, and moving one step closer to the ultimate prize, true freedom. And just when you think you've got it all figured out, just when you think you've outwitted the spiritual tricksters and mastered your own desires, something new will emerge. Another challenge, another urge, another test. Because in Blavatsky's world, the journey never ends. The spiritual world never sleeps. And your evolution is the most exciting game in town.